What's up, y'all? You're tuning in to the Here to Uplift podcast. If you've been here before, welcome back. And thank you for being a part of our Uplift community. If you're new here, woohoo! Thanks for joining us, and we hope you continue listening and engaging with our community, where we center the stories of inspiring and impactful entrepreneurs and community leaders. I'm Lolo Fisher, your host, and I'm so glad you're here. Let's get into it. All right, so welcome back to the Here to Uplift podcast. I am here with Rocio, one of my good friends from Merced, and I'm really sad that I don't get to see you as often, but so happy that you're here today. So welcome to the podcast.
Yes, thank you so much for having me here. I'm really excited to be here.
Yay,
and it's really good to see you again.
From San Mateo.
Yeah, from San Mateo.
On a rainy day, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so obviously I know who you are, and in particular, we met through Kind Neighbor, through your business, but can you kind of introduce yourself to folks and say who you are, what you do, and where you're based?
Yeah, so I'm Rocio. I'm from Merced. I grew up in Merced, and I have a juice bar in Merced. It's called Kind Neighbor, and we are a community juice bar. I like to say community because it's more than just serving the juices, smoothies, and smoothie bowls. We really care about the community, so we go out there and we try to do health and wellness education. That's why I like to call it a community juice bar.
I absolutely agree with that. Yeah. I'm glad you say that too, because when I moved to Merced, it was one of those things where I was like, okay, where are the health spots at? And it was so hard to find. And once I found your business and Kind Neighbor, which I love that we have these because the two on this table are my favorite, but this one is my favoritist, the I am focused one. But it was hard for me to find health places in general, like anything, yoga, fitness, like, yeah, there's the big box gyms, but to find a juice or a smoothie bar that wasn't just like Jamba Juice was so hard. So I loved when I found you, and then once we got connected, you literally opened me up to everything that was health and wellness in Merced that was going on.
Yeah, thank you. And I also when I met you, and then I saw that you had your yoga studio and you were doing the community events, I was so inspired by that, and I felt that you really had the connection to the people there.
Thank you.
And I was like, I want to do this with the juice bar. I want to do more community events. Yeah.
Okay, well, I always like talking about the journey of getting there, but can we actually talk about what you're doing now? Because I haven't been filled in on like what is the kind of the ongoings of Kind Neighbor right now? What are you working on?
Yeah, so we still have the juice bar, and
in the new location still, right?
Yeah, the new location. And so we're planning future events. We still have a connection with the farmers market, so we do that every summer. We put on the events and we try to promote healthy living at the farmers markets. So that's sort of what we're doing right now, and we're hoping to expand over the summer, to expand our menu and things like that. But it's just a lot of work. Like I feel I wear a lot of hats, so it's kind of hard to do it all. And I can tell you like all the things I want to do, but since I'm only one person and I do have a team, but I'm the one that focuses on more of like the business development, marketing, that side of things. And so I wish that we could expand and grow fast, but I have to slow down and realize, okay, I'm only one person, so I can only focus on one thing at a time.
That's hard.
So right now what I'm focusing on is the menu.
Okay.
And because of the prices going up, it's been a little challenge because I do have to increase the prices, and it's it is what it is.
What's the reception of that like in the community?
And I was honestly afraid. I was like, okay, I have to raise my prices. Are people going to pay this? But then I compared it to, for example, Jamba Juice, and they also raised their prices. So I was like, okay, if people are going there, then I can also do it, especially because we use quality ingredients.
Yeah.
We don't compromise on the flavor. So I said, okay, I have to, if people can't pay that price, then it's going to be hard for us to stay open.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what? That is transparently one of the biggest challenges I had working and living in Merced, even with the yoga studio, the wellness studio. It was trying to make things accessible and affordable so as many folks in our community could access like these wellness options as possible. But to stay alive in the business, prices had to go up. And at the end of the day, I was paying far more in the business than I was receiving. And I would get pushback when talking about like, hey, this is actually a way more affordable or cheaper price than if you went 15 minutes away from here, 20 minutes away from here. And folks don't realize that in I'm saying in our city, I know I don't live there anymore, but in our city of Merced, in that community, folks just don't realize the value of wellness, sadly.
Yeah.
Not everybody, of course, but
yeah, yeah.
by and large, that's a big challenge.
Yeah. So but thankfully, people have been okay with that, and I hope that is remains the same.
They better, because we need Kind Neighbor there. Like, y'all are making such a big impact and difference nutrition wise, but also clearly, like you're talking about, in the community with the farmers markets, community events. That wouldn't be there without so much of your effort that you've put in over the years.
Yeah, thank you.
So now we can jump back. I want to know how Kind Neighbor got started. Like, how did you think of it? I know you're from Merced, so how did you decide to open your business in Merced, and what was that journey?
Yeah, so I first got into health and wellness when I was probably, I want to say, high school.
Okay.
I saw my mom struggling with her health, and it kind of turned on a little light bulb in me, and it was like, if I don't take care of my health, then I can end up like this,
you don't want to be in
health
that same
issues
situation.
down the road. Yeah. So then I started getting really into health and wellness, and I would look up natural remedies if I ever got sick, and I wouldn't want to take like Advil or whatever, Tylenol. If I got sick, I would look up a recipe to cure whatever, if I had a cough. Yeah. And that's how it started. And then when I got older, I had a job in tech, and then I moved to LA.
You left Merced for a while.
Yeah, I lived in Merced for a while. And that idea was in the back of my mind of starting a juice bar or doing health and wellness. But then I thought, how am I going to get paid for this? Like, can I really make a living doing this?
Yeah.
And I just had a lot of self-doubt in my mind, and I wasn't sure if it would work. Right. So I ignored that idea, and then I had to move back to Merced in about 2017, 2018, because my dad was sick.
For health reasons.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so when I moved back, the idea came back, and I was helping take care of my dad. So it was kind of hard to do both.
Right.
So the idea came back, and then I was on Instagram one day, and they were doing a giveaway for a little juice machine. And I was like, okay, let me do it. How like a lot of times when they do the giveaways, you don't know if you're gonna win, but you try it anyways. So to my surprise, I won the juice machine. So that was like my sign. Okay, you have the machine. Direction. Yeah. And I got the machine, and then I won the machine. I got the machine, and then I was like, okay, now what? So then this is how much your mind gets to you. So it was hard to use, so I was like, no, I don't want to use it anymore. I'm not even gonna try it. So then I eventually learned how to use the machine, and I started testing it, and it wasn't as bad as I thought. Like, I just started testing it. So what I did then, I created a little menu. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna post this on Facebook and see if there's actually interest in this kind of stuff in Merced. Okay. Yeah. Because I was just getting feedback from people, like family, friends, and then I went to the business counseling that they have, like services that they have. Right. And they just thought that they didn't want to work because people are not going to want to pay the prices or things like that. Yep. So in my head, I thought, well, I want to try just to see if it's going to work, because what if I don't try it? Someone else ends up doing it.
You're always going to be wondering.
Yeah, I'm always going to be wondering. So I said, I'm just going to try it. And if it works kind of thing. And so then I put out the menu, and I started getting orders. So I got really excited. I started getting momentum, and I just kept going. And that's how I started Kind Neighbor from my own kitchen.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Through Facebook posting it first.
Yeah, through Facebook.
I love it.
And so then I did that. And then since I didn't have a permit to start everything, then the health department found out, so they shut me down. So then,
there's a wrench.
So I took that as an opportunity to actually start working on the business plan and all the little details. So I was actually shut down for like a year. Okay. And I was trying to figure out, the menu, all the little details that go into it, because when you're starting a business, it's not just from one night to the next.
Gosh, it is a process. But a lot of folks don't realize that.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. So I sat down doing that for a year, and then I was trying to look for a kitchen, but the thing is that there's not a lot of commercial kitchens in Merced or even shops that have a kitchen already in it. So then I thought, I found out that Revelos had a large kitchen in their space. So then I reached out to Devin, the owner of Revelos, which I love Devin. She gave me the opportunity to start my little juice bar in her restaurant. She trusted me. She gave me the opportunity, and then from there, I started the business there.
Yeah.
And I just started going, and I kept on going. And
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. You know what? I felt like when I started coming to Kind Neighbor and getting your juices, it was when you were at Ravello's, and I assumed that y'all had been working out of there for so long, but now hearing this timeline, I'm like, oh wait, I just got to Merced in 2019, so it wasn't that long necessarily that you had been there.
No,
but the impact was very obvious to me. Like this was the one place to go get your fresh pressed juice. Like, okay, so language wise, is it fresh pressed? Is that the right language? Or cold pressed?
Yeah, cold pressed juices.
Okay, cold pressed. I always mix that up, and I'm like, how do I say fresh pressed versus cold pressed?
Yeah,
does it matter?
I think it's almost the same. Well, I think it's just the term that they used on how the juices are made. So they use cold pressed, meaning that they don't use heat.
Okay, no heat sources, so it kind of keeps all its nutrients and everything. Okay. See, I'm like, this is the parts that I don't know that I gotta figure out. Okay, so I'm curious about the kind of the mental process, because I had no idea that, from starting it, you were shut down and had to kind of restart and redo everything. I know for me with the studio, not continuing to work out in the way I had envisioned or planned, it definitely felt like a failure. And I was getting a lot of folks telling me, like, don't consider it a failure. It's just a stepping stone. And for me, it's like I needed to say, like, no, this was a failure. In ways I failed. There was a lot of success within it, but I failed at this plan or at this vision, and I'm going to need to come back and reconstruct a new vision.
Yeah.
But I have to mark a period on that. Otherwise, I'm just going to continue this hurt and grieving process.
Yeah.
And it was really tough for me, but that's what I had to figure out. So even today, people are like, you didn't fail. It's like, you're going to keep doing it. And I'm like, no, I failed. And I had to pivot and restart. And the career that I'm working on right now, I know will eventually, in the plans, take me to re-envisioning a community wellness space through the work I'm doing now. But I had to accept that failure first.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of curious, you might define it a completely different way, but when you got that information of like, nope, you got to shut down, what was the mental process and kind of the talk in your mind?
In the moment, it was, I think, a blessing in disguise for me, because it's a lot of work running a business. And I just, in that moment when I was getting a lot of orders and making the juices at home, I was almost getting burnt out. So it was just kind of like a break for me, and I took it as, okay, this is what it is right now, what's going on, and I really want to make this work, so I'm gonna find a way to make it happen, kind of thing. But I did kind of take it, it was hard because I had to stop and I had the momentum going and I was getting the orders, but I remember thinking, okay, I have a little break to actually like sit back and think, how do I want to structure the business and create the business plan? Because prior to that, I was just making orders, so it was kind of hard to even think on how, what, like in general on about the business, because I was just making the orders.
You were working in the business, not on the business yet.
So then that gave me the opportunity to work on the business and to plan for the future.
Generally, to me at least, you seem so optimistic every time I speak with you. Would you characterize yourself as optimistic?
I would say yes. I think that I am optimistic, but I feel like anyone else, like I'm human. I do have my emotions. Just like anybody else, I do get sad. I get scared and I get worried or even nervous about the business. I do experience those feelings. And so it does happen. I mean, I experience
a roller coaster. Business is a roller coaster for sure. So when you aren't feeling motivated about your business, how do you stay disciplined and committed to keep it going and do the things you need to do?
Well, I like to hang out with people like you, and I have a mentor, and I actually found her because I was looking for a voice coach. Someone to teach me more like on leadership and how to talk to my staff and things like that. So I don't know if you got this when you're running or now, because you still have a business and you're doing the podcast and all these things. And when you're like, something happens and then you want to figure out how to make it better. Like, let's say if you lack leadership skills or communication or whatever. So you look up a book or you look up a person that can help you in that area.
Right.
Do you do that?
I absolutely do.
Okay, so
it's like problem solving, try to get as much information as possible to figure it out. Absolutely.
Okay, because I don't have any experience running a business or even managing a team. That was really hard for me to manage a team and to be direct and to tell them, okay, this needs to get done. So then I looked up a person to help me in that area, to help me how to with communication skills, pretty much, and how to be direct and how to not be afraid of just telling them like, this is what we need to do, kind of thing. Because
a little more assertiveness,
kind of thing. and I found a mentor, and she's already in her 90s.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
So she charges $500. She told me I charge $500, and you get, I don't know how many sessions, and after that you get me for life. You can call me up whenever, you know.
What? Oh my gosh.
So from time to time,
cool.
from time to time, I call her up, and I called her up the last time when we had to move from Ravelos to the new location, because I honestly didn't want to open up anymore. I wanted to give up. I just got into my head too much. I thought things needed to be really perfect. I thought my menu items had to be changed and make them really perfect. I don't know why. I just got this, what is that word?
Like with perfectionism, like pushing you off,
like a syndrome.
Imposter syndrome.
Something like that. So I kept delaying I was keep hitting the I kept delaying the opening date, even things like that. So I was making it about myself, and I called her up. I was like, this is the problem I have, and I don't know if I want to open up anymore. I want to give up. And I really did. I didn't want to open up. And then she told me, Rocio, this is not about you. This juice bar is not about you. Think about all the people that are going to get your healthy juices and all the jobs that you're going to create. So that kind of motivated me to restart. And so I was like, okay. And I was like, it's not about me. It's about the people that I'm going to serve.
Right.
So that helped me. And I'm going to look about
it. Of course. Of course. I mean, even as you're saying this, it's such an important step back that we have to take, because it is so easy when doing all these plans and research to get so wrapped up in it. I mean, I was absolutely resonate with what you're saying, because it was like, I pushed back the date for the studio opening once, and then if somebody didn't say you just have to do it, and then you can make adjustments as you go. Like, I don't know if I would have ever opened, because just taking that big step, that action when you get so wrapped up in it is hard. And then, I'm excited to hear, what else. But from your standpoint, you were in this service mindset of like how you serve others. But once you tune into all the plans, it's like, you start tuning back into you. Like, how do you open those gates again?
Yeah. So then she told me that, and that kind of removed all the fears and all the mind blocks that I had, and I was committed to reopening. And I said, okay, I'm gonna reopen. It's not about me, because even my staff, they were texting me. They're like, hey, when are we gonna reopen? Like, I'm ready to go back to work. And customers, they were ready for us to reopen, and it was just myself. I was the only one that was holding the opening dates because of my fears and all the whatever I was going through. So that's what happened when I reopened. And that's what I tend to do whenever I'm dealing with an issue. I like to call my mentors or hang out with people that are doing that also have businesses, because it really helps. That's what really helps me.
Good. Yeah. I love that. So, thinking about how there's so many small business owners, especially in communities like Merced, where it's not this big city hub and you have like 10 people doing the same thing, and it's just a matter of like finding your niche and like making yourself stand out. You're doing something different in a space where this doesn't necessarily exist in a ton of places for this community. What advice would you give to somebody that wants to do something different or that might be new to a community that is hard to accept?
Honestly, if yeah, I would because you also talked about how just getting started and then the tools will come along the way, and you kind of have to look at. I feel like it helps to look at the bigger picture of why you want to do something. And then asking yourself, really digging deep and asking yourself why you want to do it. And I feel like when you do that, things will fall into place.
Yeah.
And you just trust that God or that He'll help you. I truly believe that if you have an idea, that you just have to think about that idea, and then the things will fall into place. You don't even have to
get clear on it.
Yeah. Just get clear on it, and then things will fall into place. Because this happens to me sometimes when I feel like, okay, I want to do, like, it's kind of like you think about it, and then you think about your plan, and just have to trust that that's going to happen.
Yeah. And I think adding to that, it's like you have to see that vision, remember your why, and then don't be afraid to actually take the step, because you can plan for decades and every month something's going to change because the market changes, your situation changes. Like there's all these external environmental factors, but I like this. Like you just take those actions and something will fall into place. There's an issue, an answer will come into place. And like you just got to keep moving forward. Like the moment we stop or like start working backwards is, I think, when we reach that place of like failure, in a sense. And failure, I think personally, my opinion, failure is necessary for us to really like understand growth and like new visions for ourselves, and to hear what God's telling us. We gotta like sometimes fail within ourselves and then be like, okay, wait, what did you have for me?
Yeah, exactly.
I had this for me, and you were like, nope. But yeah, that's just my perspective on it, is like thinking about when communities have a hard time accepting a business that if you were anywhere else, it would be like, no, that's amazing. That's hard. That's hard for me. That's something I can never give advice on because I still haven't understood it completely. But I love to see you doing this work of health and wellness in a community that doesn't always talk about it. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, it is hard. It's yes, I don't know if I lost my thought.
No, it's okay. Yeah. I mean, if you don't mind, I kind of want to jump from like our business talk actually to the health and wellness side itself.
Okay.
So, you talked about how when your mom was sick, you started researching all these natural remedies and trying to figure out how to make sure you could stay well in your life. And perception wise, it seems like you're a very healthy individual. And meeting your sisters seem like very healthy individuals. Yeah. So like, what are the keys to like maintaining health and longevity in life from your opinion?
Yeah. In my opinion, because lately I've, like on online, I've been seeing there's a lot of information. And so then I always like to go in the natural way. What's natural for me. So obviously like drinking water, teas, and things that don't have a lot of additives and preservatives. And then, we can talk about the food and eating natural foods and organics and all that, but also how you talk to yourself. And that part is also really important. Because if you're it's hard, it's a tricky situation because it's easy for me to say, yes, I'm going to feel well today. I'm going to think positive.
Right.
But then you don't know what the other person is going through. And it's easy for me to say that, but then it kind of goes both ways. And I can say, okay, you don't feel well. Can you tell yourself, talk to yourself in a positive way? It's easy for me to say that, but I don't know what that person is going through.
Right.
So, so then for me, for sure, is looking for products that, like the most basic products that don't have a lot of additives or a lot of ingredients in it.
Okay. And more on the simplicity. Yeah,
simplicity. And movement is also really important. I like to get up and kind of move my body. It helps me wake up.
Right.
Kind of thing. And even if it's just 5 minutes, a lot of times we feel like we have to go really hard into something, work out really hard. And it doesn't have to be like that. It could be a simple walk, even doing like 5 jumping jacks or something like that, just to get started.
Yeah.
And, just starting healthy habits that are going to help you long term. Whatever you feel like you can do long term is the way I like to look at it, because there's like a lot of different things going on there, a lot of different diets. But it's hard to keep up with it. If it's not part of your lifestyle, things can change. Exactly. So I feel like whatever you can see yourself doing long term is what I like to do.
Yeah. That's exactly why I like getting juice, but not making it myself, because I tried it and long term I was like, this is just not feasible for me. It just wasn't my thing, like, because it takes time. It takes time and intention and a lot more fruits and vegetables than you think would go in one juice. It's like, I remember even just the simple things like orange juice, like, oh, fresh squeezed orange juice. And it was like, how many oranges go into one glass? My mind was blown.
It's a lot.
But I like that. It's what's going to be sustainable and work for you long term. I really like that tip. So in terms of like the nutrition side, if we like were to break it down, because you talked about nutrition, you talked about kind of your mental health and that self-talk piece, and then the movement and physical body pieces. So with the nutrition, like for example, what we have on the table, like the I Am Focused one, it's a mix of like vegetables and fruits. How did you actually determine the recipes and decide like what would be best for each juice, flavor, nutrition wise?
So for the juices, I thought of different things, like what is going to give us that one right there that you're seeing. It helps with energy. It helps to cleanse out the liver. So when I was planning out the recipes, I thought about what areas that I wanted to focus on. So I also have a juice that focuses on skin and vision. So then I would look at recipes or fruits and vegetables that would help with that, and then I would either get the recipes or the ingredients, and then I would put it together, because you can look up the recipes online, but once you test it, it might not taste the way you like it, the way you like it. So then you tweak it and then you make it the way you like it.
Right.
So that's how I created a lot of my recipes. Is if I liked a flavor or if I wanted to target a specific like healing aspect, then that's how I would create the menu items. And then when I test my items, it doesn't take me a day. Sometimes it can take me up to a month, just because when you try something one day, you don't want to try it all day, because then your palate it kind of
true.
It kind of, you won't be able to distinguish if it needs to be changed or not. So that's why it takes me some time. And some items I tested really fast, and then some items it took me a while.
Okay.
But that's how I focused on creating the recipes.
I love that. So you actually started with the need first, and then you worked backwards, rather than like, oh, everybody talks about these vegetables, let's try it. So
one time I had when I was making it at home, I had my nephew's friends came over, and they were like, hey, do you have a juice for a hangover? And then I looked it up, and then it's actually one of our juices right now, but I named it Skin and Vision, but it can help you with the hangover if you have one.
Good to know. Good to know. I'm like, so there's, is that the pink one?
It's the Joyful.
It's Joyful. Okay, I think I'm Lovable is what's in my mind right now. That's the pinkish
that's
colored
the pinkish
one, right?
Yeah. So I feel like there's if you ever have an issue going on, or I feel like there's a remedy for it. If you look it up, I know everybody's situation is different, but that's what I like to do. I like to look up natural remedies for to how to heal and things like that.
Have you ever had somebody reach out to you, like for example the hangover one, but reach out to you with an illness or a sickness that one of your remedies has helped?
I've had someone reach out to me about, I can't remember. People have reached out to me. It's been different things, but they've told me that the juices have helped them with that. So it makes me really happy, and it's just a little tricky, because since I'm not a doctor, I don't want to recommend anything to people. But I just know that if you do your own research, you can go to the doctor. But I also like to do my own research whenever, because I think that's really important.
Right. Yeah. Do you envision Kind Neighbor and your juices? I know you have food recipes too now, but do you envision Kind Neighbor staying local and small business, or expanding in the future?
My vision has always been to expand, and I do help. I hope to expand around the Central Valley, Bay Area, and yeah, that's my vision.
Good,
yeah,
good, because I need it. I miss not being close. And don't come for me, y'all, if you are Pressed lovers. I like Pressed, but I love Kind Neighbor in terms of taste and the actual like effects and impact. Every time, these two actually, because that's the green juice,
yeah,
right?
this is one of the green ones. This is the one with the pineapple.
Okay, yeah. So I don't know if I had the one with the pineapple. I think I might have had when it was just one green juice option.
Okay.
Before you had multiple. But yeah, there was a green juice and this one, the I Am Focused, that I literally felt my body react like. When I drank it consistently, I'll say that when I drank consistently, like my weeks would look vastly different on a week that I drank one juice a day versus that I had it maybe once or twice or not at all. Completely different. And this one in particular, energy wise, because I am somebody who, even if I get an ounce of sleep, I feel exhausted. And it's like, I can still give out energy to others. But the moment I get home, I'm like, I have a headache, I'm crashing. The fatigue in my body just makes me feel heavy and like I'm sinking. And I hate that feeling. So this is something genuinely for me that has helped. And I have not been able to find one of the pressed juices that help like that. And I'm just giving one comparison because I know it's popular here in the Bay Area. But I hope you do expand because we need your juices out here. We do. I don't know if it's a recipe thing or if it's the love you putting in or a mix of both. But,
I think a mix of both.
But we need that. Truly. I'm glad to hear that. Do you feel like that's a coming soon vision or like far off? We're looking more like 5 to 10 years or further.
I feel like it's a coming soon vision.
Yeah. Already working on it.
Yeah. And I pray and I hope I get a bigger team because it's just hard to do it all.
Yeah.
And
you
I envision I can't. Like there's so many hours. I even try to get up earlier, but there's just things come up and then sometimes I have to step in and help in the kitchen, things like that. So it's just kind of hard right now. Yeah.
So what roles do you have other folks working in? And then what roles do you like feel like you need as you grow?
So right now I have my team operations team that they're the ones that are making your orders. And then I have somebody helping me with social media.
Okay.
And then I would love to have a team that helps me with business development, marketing, even community events and things like that.
You're still doing all those pieces yourself.
Yeah. Everything. Like everything that involves a business, I do it all.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. And so besides the actual creation and serving, you're pretty much doing all those mixed pieces of the outreach and finding opportunities and creating that expansion.
So it's hard to do it all, and sometimes I have people coming to me giving me ideas. You should do this, you should do that, and I tell them it's a great idea, but I'm only one person. I don't know how long it's going to take me to get to it, but if I do, hopefully it's soon. If not, then I'm sorry. You just gotta say, you know what, it's a stage and a season that we're in right now, and eventually Rocio will not be doing it all alone. But I think that first step of even hiring folks to actually run the juice bar is important because you were even doing that at first of like, at all hours of the juice bar being open, you're doing it hands-on. So being able to step away and like focus on the business rather than just working in it is already halfway there. I know that little break and hopefully a breather is coming for you. Oh, thank you. I hope so. It's a lot of work and I love my work, but sometimes it's just like, because it feels like it never ends kind of thing. So it's not like if you have a job where you can clock in, clock out. You don't have to worry about it anymore. I think about it even on the weekends, like even right now.
Right. Yeah. Right. Well, and I think that's what a lot of folks who are like, I want to get out of a 9-to-5 and just work remotely or work as an entrepreneur don't realize is that yes, you may have time, like the freedom to control your hours, but it doesn't mean you're going to be working less, especially not at first. Maybe eventually you can work yourself there, but you're going to be putting in more hours than what you would typically do in a 9-to-5 at first if you're really trying to create a big vision and something sustainable. It's just the reality of it.
I honestly didn't know what I was getting myself into, but I grew up in a entrepreneurial entrepreneur. How do you say the word?
You said it.
Okay.
Yeah.
My families were entrepreneurs. Like my dad had his business, and then my brothers followed. So I kind of saw that growing up, and I felt like I already had it in me. But then I didn't realize like how much work goes into it once I started doing the work.
Yeah, because both of your sisters are entrepreneurs too, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And I worked with one of my older sister in tech, and then my younger sister did her own thing, and I kind of had I worked. It's kind of different when you work for someone than when you have your own thing.
Oh, definitely. Sometimes it's easier to work for somebody because there's like this, you just get it done and there's accountability, and then when you're doing it for yourself, you overthink everything.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it could always be better or different or something. Yeah. I'm curious, when you worked in tech, what did you do?
So my sister, she had a mobile tech company where they would place ads in games or things like that.
Oh, okay.
So I would manage the accounts for.
Nice. Okay, so like account manager for ad agency, but specifically for games and stuff.
Yeah.
How neat.
It was a really fun experience and a fun season in my life, and it was fun and something very different to what I was used to doing, and I learned a lot there. So, you know how you were saying how you had to close down your okay, so you might have learned a lot there that you're probably using now. So everything you do, no matter how big or small it is, it's going to help you in some type of way for your future.
Absolutely agree.
I didn't know what I was doing when I was working with my sister, but it's just I learned a lot: customer service, how to think quick on your feet, and because it's a fast it was a fast environment job, so you had to get back to customers really fast,
right,
and things like that. But I just feel like no matter how how big or small the job is, I feel like it's going to help you in your future.
I agree. And you know what? Actually, I was thinking about this the other day when I realized that I hadn't updated my resume in a long time. And somebody had asked me for my resume, and I was like, right, like let me go look at that. But when I pulled up the last resume I had updated, which it wasn't that long ago, it just wasn't as soon as like this past year. And looking at these jobs and like some of the skills and the things I did, I forgot how much I did in all these roles. And it was one kind of a little affirmation and morale booster of like, you did all of those things. Wow. Like, and it just made me so happy to remember like that I had done these things, when a lot of the time I'm just remembering some of the stress of the work or stress of the jobs or some of the points where it was like, ooh, this is why I had to transition or whatever that looked like. And it's like, but look at all these highs and what you got out of it and the skills. And that would be one of my big recommendations for anybody listening to this podcast, like taking your advice of remembering that everything you do is going to carry forward. Yeah. But also on the tangible side, actually write it out, whether it's on your resume or just in a notebook for yourself. Like when you finish a job, or now if you're going back and looking at the jobs you've done, like write out some of the tangible skills and like the big achievements from that role, because 5 years from now you might not remember what those things were when you just think about it, but when you go look at that notebook, you've probably been able to expand off it, and then you can speak it. So when we're talking about getting funding for a business or something, you can say like, I've had the history of doing this, this, and this, and it doesn't have to be in your current business, but if you've done it, you can speak to it. Yeah. And I think a lot of folks forget that when they're trying to put themselves in a space for opportunity, whether it's to get hired for something or to get funding for their business or whatever that looks like. You have to boost yourself up and share all the high points. And then we get timid and don't want to share, but just make it tangible. Go down your list and say, yes, I did all of these things. And this is why I deserve blank, blank, blank. Yeah, that's a really good idea, because we can forget all the stuff, all the hard work we did and things like that, and all the skills we learned. Yeah. And it's not to say that I want us to get caught up in the past, because it's so important to be present, but you just don't want to forget. Sometimes we just need those reminders. It's the whys. That's the reminders of why we made this decision to be where we're at, but also how we got here. That journey. So, I mean, that's the whole point of this podcast, is to hear folks' journeys, because I could say, wow, Kind Neighbor's an amazing juice bar, but I would have never known without you telling parts of your story right now that you started from your home and that it wasn't part of your plan when you're talking about career, and that you got shut down and then you had to remove. Like, I wouldn't know any of that just by drinking an amazing juice. So hearing the story just shows us how much determination and love you put into your business.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
And I love that. What are your hopes for the community of Merced?
I have a lot of hopes. I love Merced, and I know I can say that because I grew up there, but my heart's in Merced right now, and I see myself, Kind Neighbor, giving back and hosting and putting together community events to spread health and wellness education. Yeah. So that is my hope for Merced. And I do hope that we can continue serving Merced and continue to have the juice bar there in Merced.
Yay, yeah. I love it. And what are the hopes for you, Rocio? Because we talk about the business, we talk about the community, but we can't forget the person.
Thank you. Yeah, so I hope that that what I'm doing right now can support my lifestyle and my dream, having free time with my family. And that's what eventually that's what I'm doing, so that I can have more free time. I want more freedom to spend time with family, travel. I honestly just want to get up one day and not have to worry about going anywhere.
One day.
No agenda. Just kind of just get up, let's say if I have a farm, get up, feed my animals, kind of chill, drink my cafecito, my coffee, and just... but if I have a front lawn, water the grass, just chilling with my bathrobe on or something,
I have the vision.
I drive down because I live on a farm. And we don't really have a lawn, so I drive down by houses that have a really nice landscape and lawn, and I picture myself just with my just watering the lawn.
Watering the lawn. It's the simple things. I just need that.
Yeah, just that. Yeah.
So is that when you envision you and Roy and your future family? Do you envision having a farm or, kind of shifting it up? What's that goal?
Yeah, well, I grew up on a farm, so
you want to keep
that. I like that. I feel like, I like the farm lifestyle. Yeah. It's fun, and it's fun having animals. It's fun looking at what they do. Even when they eat, it's just fun to stand there. It's kind of relaxing, to be honest, just to look at them eat. I don't know why.
I feel like folks who haven't grown up on land or seeing animals probably wouldn't understand that, and it's funny because I feel like I only understand it minimally because we had a couple acres in Chino where I grew up, and we didn't have cows, but we were surrounded by dairies. Okay. Which part of why I was Merced, because it was familiar. There were chicken coops everywhere. We had some chickens at a period of time, but what I loved was, not my whole childhood, we had 2 horses at one time, and I just love those horses to pieces, and I could just sit there and watch them. I didn't have to be touching them, doing anything, but just seeing another creature just move is it's something awe. Awestruck. I can't think of the right word. It just puts me in awe watching it, and it's something so simple, but just to be wow, we're not the only life forms, one, but 2, just wondering what they're thinking, how they move. It's they don't care what's going on around them, but we get so caught up and flustered with what everybody else is doing. I'm I kind of wish we could just be like the animals sometimes.
They're just in the moment. They don't have any worries.
More present. More present.
Yeah.
But I like that. Yay. Okay, so as we start wrapping this up, it's really just a last couple questions for you. One, kind of building off what we're just talking about, but we have this picture now based on the stories you've told us of how Kind Neighbor came to be and what you're hoping for it to be. We have these visions of Merced just really growing in terms of seeing a more well community and folks being excited about health and wellness within the space, and Central Valley overall, of course, but Merced especially. And then we have this vision of you on the farm in the future. So when we bring it all together, if you were to describe the vision for your life and your business in just a couple words or phrases, what would it be? And I know this is a hard one, so
I would say it's you said 3 words.
Yeah, whatever.
Or like
words or phrases.
So the phrases.
A few words or phrases to describe like how you see that picture coming together.
Okay, I see community. Love and freedom.
Yeah, I like that. Community, love, and freedom. Oh, that freedom one. Yeah, that's hard. It's actually hard to feel free.
Yeah.
But okay, the last question for you then is, if you could just give 2 or 3 tips, like really specifically, here's 1, 2, and 3 of how to live well.
How to live well.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one is to smile. So it's the one that I want to mention is that I've been actually trying to practice myself is to spend time alone and to connect to yourself and because there's a lot of distractions right now and try to have your phone off or delete apps that are too distracting. And you'll realize that there's more to life than just, the things that are going on around us. So spend time alone.
Yeah, I like that.
And, while spending time alone is either write in your journal, say a prayer for something that you're, that's on your mind. And the other tip is to live well is... I know we talked a lot about like the food, nutrition, mental wellness is to be in community. I feel like when you're in community and you're a part of something, you end up living longer.
Yeah.
And you feel healthier, you feel more connected. A lot of times I feel like we tend to isolate because of whatever reasons, whatever reasons, I don't, only what those are.
Right.
But, I feel like that's what's common right now. Like it's very individualistic.
Right.
I noticed when I went to like Mexico or other countries, people are very communal.
Right.
And we need more of that.
Yeah.
Either through events or your neighbors, say hi to your neighbors. And I feel like that can help you live a long life.
Absolutely. We need each other. We do. And we all need support. And it's hard without, giving sob stories. It's what we can say is like we are all going through something at some point in time.
Yeah.
So if we can lift each other up and then be okay with somebody lifting us up when we're in need or when we need some help, it's going to make a difference. I love those 3 points, with that third one especially being something we don't talk about enough is how much we need each other.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. Well, those are all my questions for you, but is there anything else you wanted to share or ask today or bring up before we pull it together?
So what do you do when you're going through something, like when you have a challenge, and what do you like to do if you feel like giving up, or just who do you talk to, or what do you do? Yeah,
well, honestly, I usually end up praying out loud when I'm thinking, as you say this, I'm thinking like when I'm in like a deep struggle and I'm like, oh, like I don't know what to do, or I feel lost. For me, I already pray regularly, but when I pray out loud, it's like, God help me. And sometimes these are the prayers that have the least words, but all the feels, all the big emotions. Like I just have to like drop down to my knees. And for me, like I literally look up and I'm just kind of like opening my body, because it's like a physical embrace too of like, just help me release it. And I think maybe that's the background of like movement for me. Movement helps my mental health in general, but when I'm going through something, I literally have to take a position of openness. And it usually helps me to kind of reset my mind so that I can have some of the positive self-talk. Because if I don't physically take on that position, I stay in like a negative self-talk space and just kind of like cycle through some of like the negative feelings when I'm not feeling it. So that's one. It's like take that open position and just pray. And then once I'm like in more of an open space, because it's not that problems get solved that way necessarily, it is a little bit of like asking for help or venting. I still struggle with that in being completely honest. There's like a couple people that I feel really comfortable going to and being like, hey, this is what I'm going through. And I can just let it out or say like, hey, I need to vent and share it. And I know that helps me so much, but I don't do that often enough because I don't want to feel like I'm unloading or burden. So it's like kind of this navigating. I've just learned to ask like, hey, do you have the capacity for me to vent today or like to hear this? And I still have to work on that sometimes because most of the time I'll just keep it to myself, and then the people who love me will be like, we can tell something's off. Like, come on.
Yeah.
And then there's been a couple times where, you know, whatever I'm going through is so hard that I just want to like dump it. And then that's not good when you dump it on somebody who's not ready for it or isn't in the space to hear you. So anyways, that's kind of this part 2. Part 3 would be, I like to write things out and actually problem solve, like reverse engineering. So if it's just an emotional feeling, then that's like not the best thing. But if it's like a problem that I'm really trying to get through or fix or solve in my life, financial issues is one of them, for example. Like when I've been like, how am I going to pay these bills like next month, and trying to figure out, okay, well, there's all these things I want to do. There is income coming in, but something's like not right. Something's not matching or managing. I like reverse engineering and just like literally getting the whiteboard, putting the big picture on top of like, here's what we need to get to. Here's all the ways we're working it out, and you know, making that and turning it into a spreadsheet because my mind works in spreadsheets apparently. But I hope I'm answering the question. That's like on the emotional side and just like really feeling low. Prayer, physical opening. That second piece is being in community or finding those people I can talk to with complete honesty, like no filters, just letting it out. And then that third one would actually be getting to the problem solving.
Oh yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's really helpful.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
I love it.
Thank you so much for having me here.
We did it. Thank you. I can't wait. I'm so excited for when Kind Neighbor is like readily available in the Bay Area as well.
I'll keep you posted.
Please do it. I'm down to like create some events, something to just get you know, folks to hear about Kind Neighbor. But hopefully there's folks listening right now, because y'all need to follow Rocio and follow Kind Neighbor specifically so that you know when they'll be here with us. Or if you're listening in from Merced or Central Valley, then you can easily access Kind Neighbor. But thank you so much for sharing the things we didn't know and kind of the stories behind Kind Neighbor. It means a lot.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, that's a wrap.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Here to Uplift podcast. I hope you're finishing this episode feeling inspired and ready to take action. We want to keep the stories and inspiration coming, so please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share this podcast with a friend. We really appreciate it. Welcome to the Uplift community, friend. Please join us for another episode soon.